I'm big into men's rights, so that's what the channel's about.
You're big into men's rights
Yeah.
as a woman.
Yeah, I think that men need to be advocated for too. I think like there's always women's rights, but we don't ever talk about men.
Okay, I agree. But like overall, you as a woman who have clearly historically systematically been oppressed, how can you then say you advocate for men's rights?
Well, because I don't believe I've been oppressed.
You've been oppressed.
No, okay, I'll give you an example. Yeah, I don't believe women have been
So
oppressed.
say, and this woman tonight,
Yeah.
we've
I've
had
had
to leave
my
a
men's
club.
hands around my throat
We've had to
tonight.
leave a place, a bar down the street.
You think women have been oppressed?
Because a man,
No, I don't.
Okay.
a
No,
man
I
has
don't.
put,
Okay,
a
in
man
the
has
head.
put
Are
his
you-
hands round her throat and said, "You're too much for me. You're too pretty. I can't deal with you."
I've been told that I was going to get killed because I didn't want to get home with someone. I've been told I've got date rape in my drink because I don't want to go home with someone. And you're trying to tell me women haven't been oppressed.
I don't know, not by and large. Men get assaulted too.
I'm not
It's-
saying they
no,
don't.
And I'm
Of
saying,
course
and I'm
men
saying,
get
and I'm saying,
assaulted.
I need you to let me talk,
Okay,
because
go
if we're
for
gonna
it,
have,
go
if we're
for
gonna
it.
have like
I'll
her
listen.
like yelling at me, it's not really
No, it's
productive.
cool.
So it's like,
I'll listen,
so
go for
I'm
it.
saying like men get assaulted and they're not taken seriously. Like if a woman gets assaulted, like what happened with Amber Heard?
Okay.
She came forward, people just automatically believed her, and she was able to accuse a man of things that he didn't even do. And that's a man with power, money, and privilege. What happens to the average guy that happens to? Like we had a whole movement called Believe. Yeah, so it's like if that happened to a rich, powerful man, what does that mean for the average guy? And like that doesn't happen to women. Like women automatically are believed, where men aren't. And like
Because it happens from a history, like women are in a place of like lower power.
so how could we say that we're at a place of lower power when we never had to fight in wars? Men were the ones that were forced to go out and fight and protect women, where
Because women didn't even have the option to go and fight because they were seen as too weak.
Women didn't actually, so you might not know this, but women didn't actually want the right to vote because it came with being drafted. So if you surveyed women 100 years ago, do you want the right to vote, yes or no? Most said no because they had to be drafted. So like,
Okay,
they didn't want to do that.
I don't know the facts behind that, but I just don't see how that could possibly be true with the suffragette movement. Like, how is that?
Suffrage, it was actually started in New York, and it was started by men. It wasn't started by women.
Okay, really?
Yeah, it was in Seneca Falls, New York. I can't remember the exact year off the top of my head, but yeah, it wasn't started by, it was a group of 300 people, and the majority were men.
Please help me. Okay, they're going.
I-
Please help.
Yeah, and so I just think men like they're not taken seriously when they have claims of assault, and that's a real problem.
No,
and so
see-
even in this conversation, when I say like that, I think men have a problem. Like it's always women have to come forward and say, well, what about our problems? And we're talking about men.
I see the point you're coming across of, like, men don't have the voice to be saying, oh, I've been assaulted, whatever.
Yeah.
I see that point, especially, like, being a gay male or whatever, like, it takes a lot for someone to come out and be like, okay, I've been assaulted, like, walking down the street or whatever. But I just think it's kind of, like, rude for your argument to be then that women don't have oppression or whatever like that.
No, I just don't think we have in 2022. You have so much privilege as a young, pretty girl.
In my workplace, the work of like hierarchy, it's like 75% male to women.
So do you know why that is?
Why?
Because men pick harder jobs. Men work more hours.
No.
No, and if you look at and I'm just saying, like, if you just Google what percent of women are plumbers? What percent? So plumbing, electrician, garbage.
Okay, I understand that, but that's different. Like, that's society telling men that they should become plumbers. That's not women not becoming plumbers or getting a hard-working job.
So I used to think that too, right? I used to think that. But when you look at countries that are more, so if you do a list of countries, right, and you pick the countries that are more free, and then do the countries that are the least free for women, and it's pretty easy to pick those. You go to the Scandinavian countries, there's more free. If you go to the Saudi Arabia, less free. The pay gap gets bigger the more choice women have, which seems to indicate that women pick jobs that make less money when they're given more choice.
Okay.
So
I haven't looked into that, so I can't really comment on that.
yeah, no, it's okay. I don't expect you to come in knowing everything.
Yeah.
But so I just think a lot of times the narrative is like that women are oppressed, and I genuinely think that a lot of men have it harder than us, and we don't advocate for them. Like for example, if I get married and I get a divorce, who's the one collecting child support? And in the U.S., there are men that commit suicide over going into so much debt over child support. Like there are women stealing condoms from the NBA trying to get pregnant. And so it's just like these are men's issues that I think are important.
I feel like it's very different. Like we're in the UK, you can't really. I don't think in terms of looking at America's statistics, it shouldn't really be applied to the UK. It's a very different climate.
The UK has similar problems. They also have child support. Like I've interviewed men on the channel that come forward and say like, yeah, that girl tried to get like she told me she was on birth control to try to get pregnant off of me.
That is definitely an issue, and like I've heard of that before, but that is very based on the individual. I don't know, I just think as a woman, are you saying you're not a feminist?
No, I wouldn't call myself a feminist, because I think in 2022, what am I fighting for? We have all the rights.
Okay, I just think that's crazy.
Well, you know what right do I not have?
So do you go to nightclubs?
No, I don't drink.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think that is mainly your issue. So you don't go to nightclubs, you don't put yourself, and I guess it's kind of like, oh, just a woman put herself in that position, but it's not. If you're going on a night out, you're having fun, that's you deciding, I'm going to go out with my friends, and then a man is taking advantage of you, you shouldn't then be blamed for, oh, I wore a short dress, like I was going out and having fun. Like before you were saying, if a girl wears red lipstick, like she's asking for it.
No, I didn't say that. We have the recording.
Okay, yeah, no. I'm not saying you said that.
So I didn't say she
along the lines.
No, I wasn't saying she's asking for it. I'm saying that's what it indicates sexual arousal. I'm saying so like.
I just think that's weird, because in my head, as a student who studies fashion, red lipstick is seen as like fashionable. It's like a catwalk. Like red lipstick is a very prominent thing in fashion. It's not, oh, I'm sexually active. Like I want people to have sex with me.
It might not be intentional, but like there's reasons that like that we put the makeup on the way we do it. Like mascara indicates bigger eyes. Like men are attracted to bigger eyes. See, like to me, you want to come in? Okay.
I just think that's down to you. Like if you're putting mascara on to have bigger eyes, and you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna have bigger eyes to attract a man, then that's down to you.
But you know what's interesting? When I do these interviews, like it's not the men who are rude to me. It's always the women, and it's always like I almost got like a girl was trying to attack me. Like honestly, like I'm saying, like genuinely, I'm more afraid of getting attacked by women than I am by men.
But I just think that's because you're not showing yourself as wanting like for a woman. I just think that's because you're not advocating for women to have like
but it shouldn't be like I am allowed to have a different opinion than women.
Yeah,
so like I think as women, if you're really a feminist, you should support women that have different opinions than you.
I think
and so I'm saying like when I can I just finish so like when I'm doing these street interviews, it's very frustrating because the women that say they're advocating for me are the same ones trying to throw hands.
Because the people that are advocating for you, you're completely backfiring to them and saying you're not advocating for women at all.
No, I'm saying they're not advocating for me because I should be able, like, it's a conversation.
But you're not advocating for yourself. You're saying you're not a feminist, so you don't want equal rights. You just want to.
No, that's not what I said. I'm saying we have. I'm saying
you're not a feminist.
I'm saying I'm not a feminist because we have all the rights we need.
I don't think you do.
So I'm asking, what law or policy do we need in 2022? I just think it should be easy because like we're so oppressed. So what's one?
Okay, well I don't know oppressed in terms of laws, but I know oppressed in terms of society. You said you don't go clubbing, so my friends, they go clubbing and they get sexually abused almost. People grab them, people touch them, and it's inappropriate.
You know, men are more likely to be victims of a violent crime. You're not entitled to safety.
Yeah, no,
like,
100%.
So like, if you choose to go into a city in a nightclub, like men are assaulted too. Men can get punched, get into fights if they're. So it's like we both have problems.
But more often than not, I mean, this is very generalizing. But if a man gets into an altercation with another man, more often than not, this is very generalizing. But in the terms of a situation like in a nightclub or whatever, so say I was in a nightclub before. Two guys got into a fight. That was an altercation between them two, like being men. They were fighting, they were arguing, it was violent. Whereas like if an altercation happened with a woman, it would be because he was touching her inappropriate, that she was saying no, stop it, and he would get angry because he couldn't get the way he wanted.
Can I give you a stat that you might not know?
Yeah, no.
So let's talk about abusive relationships.
Yeah, go for it.
So most abusive relationships are they're both abusive, meaning the man's hitting the woman and the woman's hitting the man. But in cases where it's one-sided abuse, meaning someone's hitting and the other's not hitting back, women do it more than men.
Okay.
And so it's like when I see stats like this, and it's still like that women are oppressed, like because I really think men have a hard time coming forward when they're assaulted by men. So I'll give you another example tonight. I'm here with Jesse, right? And Jesse was literally like, we got it on camera. This girl was like pushing him and like all over him. And if that happened to me, like they would cry assault, right? But for him, like nobody says anything.
Yeah.
And so it's like girls can kind of get away with that stuff where guys, everyone agrees it's wrong.
I do think that's a hard statistic to come by because realistically, like, the difference is, even Anay, she's trying to get girls to come forward and be like, what you're saying is wrong. Like, you're not really advocating for women's rights. And even the women are too afraid to come over to you and talk to you.
Well, I don't know why they're afraid. Like, it's quite, like, I don't...
Most of them have just said they can't be arsed.
Yeah, because you are personally not even like...
Am I rude to you? Like, I've been
No,
quite
you're
polite.
not rude to me, but like to the women, you have been rude.
How have I been rude when someone threatened to punch me?
Okay, but Anay hasn't threatened to punch you.
Yeah, but she said I don't want to be near you. Like, that's kind of rude, right?
It is kind of rude, but when you're like
I'm asking
saying
you.
that her experience of being touched in a club where she didn't want to be touched is invalid, you were saying,
I didn't say it was invalid. That's not what I said.
okay, but you kind of pushed her away and neglected it. Like, it's not really an issue. Like, you wanted to talk about men.
I'm saying I don't think that's okay. I think that's wrong. But when you go out into a nightclub, like, you know, there's a possibility that'll happen.
But there shouldn't be a possibility.
But I'm saying it happens to men and women. It happens to both. Like just today, I went out with Jesse, right? And I was threatened, right? Jesse protected me. That was a privilege as a woman that I got. This girl comes up to him and has her hands all over him. Like, because he's a guy, people just accept it.
Yeah, no, I don't think people
so I'm saying
accept
it
it.
happens to
It's a
both.
hard. But I think as a woman, it's more often that it happens.
I don't know, because men
I
are
don't know, to be fair, I don't
men
really
are more
know
likely to be
enough
vic-
statistics.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just gonna have to go because I don't really know enough to kind of battle with you on this.
Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate your knowledge. Like, I understand that you have more like knowledge on.
As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible.